You're on with Matt and Sonny.
Hey, what's up?
What's going on?
Maddie? What's going on? Thank you for having me.
All right. So, yeah, today the NAR thing. That's a little crazy. They got sued by all these states for a few $1 billion, and they won. I think it has to do with the sellers commission.
Man, look, nobody knows. Nobody has any idea. So all that we know is this: they issued a statement on Friday.
Yeah.
And they basically are alluding to. So all I can do is give you the rumor mill.
Yeah.
So, and that's what everyone's doing right now. Like if you go on YouTube, thousands and thousands of views on all these videos that are 4 days, 3 days, 2 days old, because it just came out on Friday.
Yeah.
And I think there was a new announcement today. But the real estate community is panicked because here's the biggest rumor right now. The biggest rumor is the former max amount of compensation that a seller could be charged because a seller pays commissions.
Right.
Is 6%.
Right.
They're saying that that's going to get chopped down to 3%.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Okay, and here's where it gets a little bit more like grisly, right?
Yeah.
That 3%, it's the choice of the seller on if they want to participate to pay a buyer's agent.
Right.
So what does that mean to anybody that's like in plain English, like that's watching this, that's not in the industry?
Yeah.
The big old rumor that has people freaked out is that, hey, if you're a buyer's agent, and you're representing a buyer, and you bring it to someone's house that's for sale, and they want to write the offer and say, hey, I want to buy your house. Yeah. Well, now the buyer's agent's going to say, hey, Mr. Buyer, Mrs. Buyer, the seller doesn't want to pay me. Will you pay me?
Right.
What I'm worth to write your offer.
Right.
Now, I don't know about you. I don't know, like very few, like there's a small percentage in my body.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because I've been doing this for 20 years. Like, would I ever see a buyer paying a buyer's agent? Like, think about it. They're already,
no way. They're already broke.
They're already broke. You got to worry about closing costs. You got to
make the biggest investment of their life. Like, if they're doing it a second or third time, they might own another house that they pulled all the money out of just to get the new house.
Yeah.
You know, like they're barely scraping. Why are they going to pay you another 25
So,
grand?
So Matt, you're saying that if I told you, hey, you got your down payment, you got your closing costs.
Yeah.
So now, we're buying this $500,000 house. I need you to cut me a check for $10,000 because I'm going to write you this offer and help you. And I'm so worth it because I have all this experience and I'm going to make sure that you're negotiated properly on this home.
Right.
So would you pay me the 10 grand?
Me personally, I probably wouldn't. I would probably go on ChatGPT. And be like, I'm buying this house. This is my contract. Give me all the bullet points. Tell me what I need to know, what's going on, and go from there. And then, but what I could see happening is that if you want to see a house, it's $200 to get a showing to the agent, right in their pocket.
Yeah.
Right. If you want to see the house again, this time it's discounted $150. Right. So then, oh, you want me to call the buyer's agent? That's $50.
I don't know if advance fees are going to be something that'll be allowed per the Department of Real Estate guidelines, but I could see that happening. Maybe they get looser with that. And so now everyone becomes a true Uber for opening doors.
Right. Like, well, Redfin already has that.
They do. Like, but do you pay an advance fee though?
If you're, if you're working for Redfin as an agent, because they only charge 1.5% for.
So they're paying. They're paying a salary to that Redfin agent.
Yeah. So if you want to see the house, you have to pay $50. But then again, they pay that agent.
But again, it's a salary. You know what I want to discuss though.
The person that wants to see the house on Redfin has to pay.
Wow. So you know what?
Or the seller has to pay it.
Let me ask you this. Like, I'm really curious on your take, right? Mm-hmm. I'm always interested in how the volcano, unfolds, right? Like, so let's look at the negative byproduct, or just let's not even put a label on it. What is the byproduct? Like, what is the repercussion of, this commission being shrunk down to 3%? And I don't even want to say repercussion or byproduct because, again, it sounds negative. It sounds like, Chernobyl, right? No, like what do we think is the most likely outcome there? What is the most likely outcome of what's going to happen next?
Yeah, so let's say
this is a game.
They get rid of 3%.
No, this is a game. I'll go first.
Okay.
And then, so I'm going to say what I think. Ding. And then you go what you think. Ding. And then I'll go what I think. Ding. Okay. Cool?
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a mass exodus from this real estate and mortgage and space.
Yeah.
Maybe even insurance space, because that's gotten all weird because of the cost of California construction.
Right.
This year. I think 500,000 agents are they're gonna dip out of this market this year.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay.
I saw it come in like 2 years ago. That's why I got out last year. I was up for renewal, and I was like, I saw that interest rates double. Yeah. I was like, there's the first check mark. The next one was B of A started giving out loans to minorities with no credit check again, like they did in 2006. Like all you had to do is just come in and they're giving you a second for the down payment and then no credit check.
Wow.
To buy a house out of 40-year term.
On a 40-year term.
Yeah. I was like, oh, this is not good. But they said they're not going to sell off the loan packages anymore.
Well, look, you can't just agree with my answer. You got to make your own answer. So you think I think there's gonna be a ton of people leaving. What do you think is gonna be another outcome from this?
Well, I definitely think something needed to happen from a market standpoint, from a personal. Like if I'm a buyer and the seller, I don't want to pay $50,000 to sell my house every time. And now job market is so up and down. Like you get a new job every 2 years because everything's changing so fast.
But Matt, this is the lowest jobs report numbers that we've seen as a country. What are you talking about?
Right. But I think that
they don't talk about the underemployed.
Right.
In those numbers.
Yeah, exactly. But so people, where am I going? I went off track.
You said that they're going to see less. You're thinking this is going to be the outcome, and this is going to be, hey, more affordable ways to sell, right? Because now it's half the cost of the $50,000 on $1 million home,
right?
Like in Folsom, it's $1 million, right?
Yeah.
So this is going to be better for the seller because they're going to be able to walk away with a little bit more money, and it's going to keep the house possibly affordable because it's not going to travel upwards $50,000
every 2 years.
Every 2 years, okay.
Extra because of a commission.
All right, so touche. Here's an outcome I see. Okay. I see a compound effect of all of those people that left the industry.
Yeah.
Who are now scrambling to other sectors. Yeah. And I'm really curious to see what other sectors are going to now get saturated. So, for example, there's a guy who is a Punjabi guy. He's Minority Mindset on YouTube. Yeah. I think his name is Jaspreet. And he was hiring for writers, okay? Mm-hmm. And he had to actually stop what he was doing, create a separate YouTube video that he released 4 days ago.
Yeah.
So that said, wow, we needed to take a look at what's happening in real estate because we put an advertisement out for writers, and we got bombarded with former real estate agents wanting that job. Yeah. And it has nothing to do with real estate. So I'm curious to see where the overflow, the spillover is going to be, because just really think about it. If we were in the oil rigging industry,
yeah,
and now oil rigging stopped and everything was electric, oil like oil's
like
gone.
What they want it to be.
What they want it to be, right? Like green climate, right? The climate bell, right? It actually worked, 10 years later. Now let's say thousands and thousands, tens of thousands, not even 1 million, just tens of thousands of that sector leave and go to construction. And now construction has an overflow of labor, which now means that they can, supply and demand, they can now pay less for that labor. I want to see the topple effect of this 1 million or 400,000 licensed, formerly active agents. Yeah. I want to see where they go and what other industry sectors get now toppled over or get saturated because of that population migrating.
So back in 2010 to 2012, when it kind of crumbled because the market just went crazy and like everyone started losing their homes and
the Great Recession.
The banks were holding on to the properties, right? And so there's short sales that were taking a year and a half. And the agents back then, it was like the same thing. Like there was this influx of agents. Then 2006 came. The newer agents didn't make any money. The old ones had old clients that were loyal. So they kept like their middle income, like they went from like making 100 grand to like 50 grand, 40 grand, and then doing something on the side, like waiting tables or something and making a living. And then it just fell apart completely. And they either left or stayed in, but were working another job. And I think that's the same thing is going to happen right now. You'll have the lifers that just love real estate and they'll stay in it no matter what. And they have loyal friends and family and a network where they're good. They're going to stay, right? Even though they get a price cut, that just means that I think brokers are going to have to lower their fees as well.
Okay, so the agent. You think it's going to be a possible race to the bottom?
Yeah, like I think it's just every level is going to get affected.
Okay.
So brokers are going to get hit. Everything. Even escrow fees are going to have to come down.
Great.
Like, I mean.
Great.
You know? So it's like a reset.
All right. So I'm with you on that one. So I think the third thing that could possibly come out, right?
Yeah.
The possible outcome, right?
Yeah.
Is that you're going to see those individuals that have stayed, like you mentioned, capture market share.
Right.
But they're going to realize slowly and hopefully quickly that the market share that they did capture is now going to be maybe a 3 to 5 year, maximum 7-year run.
Yeah.
Because now we're in the age of AI. Like everyone's like, oh yeah, this has been said before. Robots are going to do our job and tech's going to replace us.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we've never been this close. We've never been in an age right now. Like I'm telling you, like, look, maybe not everybody. Like maybe first time buyers that are like, duh, I don't want the edge. I need hand-holding, right? Like, sure, those people, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not making fun of them. That's just kind of how they sound, right?
Yeah.
But for people like you and me that can pull out their phone.
Yeah.
And they're already doing half the work, which is shopping for their home online, but looking at the picture, swiping.
Yeah.
If you can find a date.
It's like Tinder.
Dude, if you can find a date, or I was going to say that. If you could find a date or a soulmate on a browsing that you're going to choose to spend your whole life with, you're telling me you can't find a house doing that? Right. So all they need to really do, all tech companies, to solve a problem, you really need to do is add a feature to where you could write an offer through that.
Yeah.
And actually go through the steps.
Working on it.
They're working on it. So where does that leave, really, in the grand scheme of things, the longevity of this career?
I think
it's been a good run.
Yeah.
That's about it.
I think it's got 10 years and then it's an app. Sure, in smaller markets, there still might be those go-to brokers that are doubling as agents as well.
Yeah.
Like you're going to be your own broker. Like I have a few friends that do loans and real estate. So they get either side. When it's slow in the real estate, they're making money from loans.
Do you think that those friends are really like with the hopes that they're not watching this, but like, do you feel like those friends are like, just honestly, do you think that they're really successful?
No, they're just getting by it. They're just
making
hustling.
A living. They're just making a living, right?
It's like
they're paycheck to paycheck in that industry. Maybe doing a little bit better than that.
A few of them, well, they have like a few rental properties and they're paying it down, and
it's become like a side hustle kind of.
Yeah, it's like they could fluctuate with the market, whichever way it's going. If those rates go lower, they make more money in loans for the month.
Dude,
or the year,
if I was to ask you, like, hey, what's somebody got to do to really launch a podcast rental business? Like, that's a niche. You have niched down. For anybody listening to this for the first time, Gemini Media, my buddy Matt literally has like figured it out. Because what you've done is you're like, all right, I'm going to go rent inexpensive space that's centrally located. This is super easily to get.
Yeah, you could go to El Dorado Hills,
anywhere.
Roseville.
Yeah, dude, I'm from Loomis. Downtown. It's like this quick to get here, right?
It's 20 minutes.
And then you're booking it by the hour.
Yeah.
You can change different formats, lighting, colors, green screen, whatever you want to do. All the tech is provided to you.
Yeah.
And here's your fee.
Yeah.
And here's your raw footage, or it can be edited for you for an add-on service.
Yeah.
And you're basically a landlord.
Yeah.
That's what you have become.
Yeah, it's like a hair cutting station.
Exactly.
So,
the problem you solve is for the problem you have identified is, hey, people want to get their content out there, but they don't know where to start with getting their cameras and their lenses and their ISOs and their microphones and their all the cords and the plugs and the all that stuff. So you're like,
keywords.
Hey, you're like, I'm gonna get this.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna go ahead and rent it out, and all you got to do is come in here, record, and see you later.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're on the same page, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You're gonna be able to capture market share, and you're gonna be able to outlast. Okay. Yeah. I have friends who are Jacks and Jills of all trades.
Yeah.
They do loans. They do insurance. They do real estate. They do notary. And every once in a while they do property management.
Oh yeah.
There's no law, there's no ethical bound. There could be an ethical bound maybe, right? Like a moral bound, right?
Yeah.
But there's no law, there's no regulation. It's all compliant amongst the Department of Real Estate, the CFPB, the NMLS, for them to be able to serve with all their licensing to serve all this stuff. But here's the one common theme that all of them have. You ready for it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any of them are really balling. I don't think any of them are really truly super successful.
No, I don't.
Like the people that I'm thinking about,
Yeah.
they're married to like people who have careers.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
like
exactly.
They're married to a doctor, a nurse,
a doctor, a dentist.
You know?
Like someone that's solid.
Yeah.
Right? It's like the person who, when they're in their 20s and they're both working at the restaurant, right? At nighttime, college in the daytime. Then one of them they graduate, one gets a day job, but keeps working nights with the other person. And they both like met in this situation, right?
Yeah.
But one wants to have the 9 to 5 Monday through Friday routine.
Yeah.
And work for the state or whatever have you. And then the other one says, well, I love my regulars. I love working 30 hours a week and I don't mind working weekends if I have to. And so they keep this up. So one's like got the 9 to 5, one's covering shifts.
What you're trying to say is like one is the safe and secure and the other person's kind of living their dream.
Or trying to
live
their dream, or they're comfortable and they don't want to aspire. They don't want to take the next step risk per se.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'm going to go back to using you as an example. Okay. So for anybody that's watching this, instead of us bagging on like the person that's going to leave or like the person, or if it sounds like I'm bagging on realtors or this and that, I'm not. Here's what I'm saying.
It's a pattern.
It's a pattern.
And they're going to go, I see them going to insurance and solar again.
Ugh.
That like, where there's like, more cold calling.
Isn't that gross? Is it like, and I'm not saying that for anybody that's in solar or sells cars or anything like that.
No.
Like that's not a dig to you, but it's so gross to me because like, here's the real estate agent, right? Yeah. Here's the lender.
Yeah.
They can choose to get into a complementary business that is like an arm of an extension of their business that can level them up.
Right.
Like an example of that is like if a real estate agent got their general contractor's license, that's a value add because as they're walking my house to sell it, they can say, you know what, this doesn't meet code. This dry rot right here is going to get called out. Right. They're saving me. And that's like experience and licensing that I can use.
Right.
They can be like, hey, after you're done, we know you didn't like the kitchen. We can offer a service and it's complimentary to tell you a quote. Now, because of sales,
right?
They can ruin it. They can say, oh yeah, we're going to help you find a house and we're also going to make money on you by doing the construction, right?
Right.
But no, if they were complimentary on it,
okay,
for lending, If a lender got into an arm business, like an extension of their business, and rose up to also financial advising, right? Like that is a courteous thing.
Yeah.
But because Matt this industry is so full of side hustle sales mentality.
Yeah.
What ends up happening is they look for quick money. So that's why you see the real estate agents right now selling solar.
Right.
You see real estate agents cross-selling a product that they can make a big check on. And who gets harmed at the end? The consumer. Right. You see lenders going, oh, I'm also going to sell real estate.
Right.
Oh, these pea-brain realtors can do it. I can do it too. Because they don't have real respect for it. Or they'll say, you know what, I'll just go down on the totem pole and also try to do insurance and cross-sell my book to try to get residuals for insurance.
Right.
Like, but then now you're becoming a Jack and Jill of all trades. You're never going to actually level up in your career and be one step under an attorney.
Right.
You real estate broker, you could be perceived as one level under an attorney, a contract specialist.
Yeah.
But you have chosen to maximize your wallet and try to fatten your bank account. So you're now going to go try to sell a service, you know?
Yeah.
And this is no different for those like EXP I don't want to call out names, but like those team leaders.
Right.
That like when they are just so fatigued,
take 25%.
Right? They're so fatigued of selling their own like clients, like or trying to go and get business, so they go and sign up with another buddy, the Sonny and Matt team, and they get like as many 30, 40 agents body count as they can to try to get a sliver off everybody, and you should see it. The ego just grows. It's so disgusting.
They're like, I lead the team.
I'm a team leader.
50 under me. We're pulling in 50 grand this month. I'm getting a check for 50 grand tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
you're like,
see it.
You're like, you're gross.
Yeah. It's like, what is the point of that?
Yeah.
Like, you should be expanding people's lives in your life, like trying to add more value.
So what does a professional look like to you? Like, forget like putting a label on it, like lender, realtor. A professional to me, in the industry I know, a professional lender, a professional realtor, the ones that are actually going to capture the market share we were discussing, there's somebody who has a mission statement or a belief system.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm going to serve X and I'm going to solve this blank problem for this person.
Right.
They got it. So they have a mission statement, a credo they live and die by.
Yeah.
They have a standard operating procedure. That means they have processes and systems. So if they have a buyer, that buyer, no matter what price point, no matter what background, you know, no matter what, if they're a condo buyer, a duplex buyer, if they're a first-time buyer, if they're a multi-investor buyer, they're gone through the same process. This is the gifting during pre-approval. This is the closing gift. This is the Tuesday, Thursday updates the calls that they get. This is the communication process we're going to give them.
Yeah.
You know, they have done that. They have whiteboarded out all of the potential things that they would not want to see. You know, like what are some big problems? I never hear from my realtor. I never hear from my lender. So communication. So they have process mapped their communication, whether it's through text, talk, their methodology.
They're touching base.
They're touching
at
base
least every other day.
right. They're actively
just letting you know I talked to the agent.
Right. They're actively not focusing on sales.
Yeah, they're
actually
guiding you.
They're guiding you.
They're guiding the experience. It's like a movie or a book unfolding, right? You got the outline, you got the start of it, you got let's view this house, and then you get the excitement of we're actually doing this for the customer. So you're creating an experience that they remember, and then they remember, wow, that really went well, and we didn't have to stress like we thought. Like everyone talks about, like, oh, that didn't happen to us. Like that kind of professional.
I just
makes it feel like it was easy.
Yeah.
If you can make something feel easy for someone, they're going to come back.
Dude, you hit it.
Yeah.
You hit it.
I think
so Matt's family owns the pizzeria Classico.
Yeah.
Down the street. Okay. Here's an example of making it easy. Okay. Yeah. Last time we shot, we went down to your dad's restaurant, your mom and dad's restaurant, and you're like, come on, dude, come get a sliced pizza. I'm like, oh man, I'm not doing carbs, but I'm gonna do it. We got seated in a booth.
Yeah.
The guy came and checked on us regularly. Yeah. The pizza came out in 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Yeah. Like wood-fired pizza, right? Or oven pizza, right? Oven pizza. And it was super good pizza.
Yeah.
Like my kids were like, oh my God, this is the really good pizza, right?
Yeah.
The crust was like, there was nothing wrong with it. We must have been asked 3 times if we want something to drink, you know?
Yeah.
And then we left. Yeah. And then I had to fight you for the bill. I'm like, no, I'm paying, right? This is a business.
Yeah. It was like
super easy.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Parking was easy.
Yeah.
So like it solved my problem. Yeah. I'll be a customer again of Pizzeria Classico.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But I think, again, the professional is going to have a mission statement they live by, a credo they live by. Mm-hmm. They're going to have standard operating procedure. Yes. They're going to have trainings that they give to their team. Yeah. They're going to have all of their tech stack built out for the type of method touch that customers want. Like I have a customer right now buying a $950,000 house. Yeah. They don't want to talk. Right. They want to text. So I'm better off putting them on a drip. I'm better off having text message communication regularly with them and having it automated. Yeah. Okay. They have their content, they're time blocked for their content. They're time blocked for their showings. They're time blocked for their past customer calls. They're actually engaging in a time period where they're making sales, but they're not doing it overly. What I'm talking about is like, you always hear like ABC, always be closing. And you see people that are always prospecting and they're basically just getting deals and they're handing it off to a team, factory assembly line. There's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. Except for the fact that you have now just made the game all about sales. Right. And it's not supposed to be that way. This is a service-based business. Yeah. And
it's a relationship.
And I think people like me, like you, like that are actually consumers. Yeah. I'm salesed out. I'm sales fatigued. I don't want to be sold by a commercial, a YouTube ad. It's not going to work for me. If you cold call me, it's not going to work for me. If you email blast me, it's not going to work for me. I have to find you when I want it. Right. I need concrete.
I'm not like that. Like when you go on Facebook or Google and you were talking, like you and I were talking right now about like, oh, this on air sign. That's pretty cool. I wonder where I could get that. And then 3 minutes later, we look on our feed and Facebook and, oh, on air signs at Shopify store, right? Yeah. Like, I'm not going to go on that Shopify store because
I feel creepy.
I didn't look for it. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not what I wanted right now. It was just my first idea. Now I have to let it simmer a little bit. And like, why would I want that on air sign? And do I really need it? And then, oh, now I'm ready to create something. I'm going to go look for an on air sign. Yeah. But I'm going to go do a few go watch a few YouTube videos first on air signs and see what makes sense. Is there one that just turns on when you turn on your microphone? Is there one that turns on when you turn on the lights? Is there one that doesn't make noise? Like, I'm not going to go to the Shopify store that popped up 2 seconds after
and that ideology of that pop-up, right?
Yeah,
it's dying. It's dying. Yeah, it's like dying. Because more people, I feel like the pendulum swinging are like you and I. Because everything you just described about the on-air sign and your sales process, in your consumption process,
consumption
is how mine is. Like if I see this, this iPhone for new protein, right? I'm on a diet kick, new protein. I'm gonna research the protein. I'm gonna call a few buddies that work out and go, hey, what do you think about this protein? Yeah. And then maybe 5 days later, I'll pull the trigger and I'll buy it. Yeah. And at that time, I'm really not caring too much about price. Right. I've made the decision to buy.
Yeah, you figured out the average. You figured out like that's crap and it costs $50, and this is good stuff. That's $200, but this one seems to be just as good, and it's $125.
I want to stick to the real estate conversation.
Yeah.
There might be somebody on here that is in real estate or lending, and they're like trying to get to the big part. Okay, let me tell you right now how you can make $1 million in real estate lending or insurance right now.
How would you do that?
Okay. It's actually not selling real estate lending or making insurance. Deals happen. This is how you do it. It actually became popular. It was happening before, but it became real popular at the fourth quarter of 2021. Okay. People started making a little bit of money with real estate, mortgage, insurance. Yeah. You know what they did? They started setting up shop. Have you heard this statement? Hey, sell shovels and pickaxes to gold miners. Mm-hmm. That statement comes from, during the gold rush era, the gold boom. Yeah, there was a lot of millionaires, multimillionaires that found gold. Right. Eureka, I struck gold, right? Yeah. But the majority that made the money were the shops that were peddling the shovels and the pickaxes. Yeah. Okay. That was really what it was. Yeah. Okay. No different today.
Nope.
If you are someone that has a course on teaching how to wholesale, teaching how to sell real estate, teaching how to set up a real estate company, teaching how-to on how to get your broker's license, pass the NMLS license, and set up shop and do coaching for it. Yeah. If you can do that, you'll cross the finish line of faster $1 million sales.
Oh yeah.
Than you would if you were actually selling real estate. So for anybody thinking about getting into real estate in this year or lending in this year, yeah, there's still room. But you're not going to make $1 million out the gate. You may not even make $1 million in a few years from now. And that's not a put down. If you can do it, great. Yeah. But the reality is like, even when you go on YouTube, it sucks. Like even the YouTube generation will not give you unless you are looking up something that is non-trending.
Right.
Okay. You will get if you look up something non-trending, you'll get a clear answer from YouTube. If you're looking up how to bake a cheesecake recipe, you'll find a YouTube out there that has 2,100 views, and those are the sweet spots.
Right.
And it'll have a play-by-play of exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah.
But if you're searching something trending, use the cheesecake analogy. Yeah. Okay. Hey, I'm looking for the cottage cheese, no bake cheesecake recipe, high protein, low calorie.
Right.
Okay. You're going to see some skinny babe or muscular dude because sex sells, right? Yeah. And it's going to be a short, and it's going to have really cool music behind it. And it's not even going to have the recipe.
No,
and you're going to be
like a mixing bowl, top down shot. And like, I use this, and this, and my kids love it.
And it's be so quick.
1 minute.
And you're going to have to watch it again and again because that's how they get their view count up.
Yeah. And then they're like, stay tuned for part 2.
Yeah.
And then you click on their channel, and then you can't find part 2 anywhere.
But why is that happening? You know why? Because it's a part of a course of the down funnel for the consumption person, the person who's trying to consume, to get to the end goal of their recipe book.
Right.
That they're going to sell 10,000, 20,000 e-copies of at $10 a pop. Yeah. And that's how they make money.
Exactly.
And when Christmas comes, just like Beyonce used to back in the day, sell that Christmas record, NSYNC, they're going to do the same thing with their holiday recipe book. That's the gross world we live in. So now let's apply that to real estate. If you type in wholesale, I want to learn how to wholesale homes. I want to learn how to sell real estate. I want to learn how to get leads as a lender. I want to learn how to get real estate contacts to refer me business as lender. Anything meaningful?
Yeah.
Because there's such high trending topics. Yeah. And I'm going to nerd out with you a little bit. You don't believe me? Go to semrush.com. semrush.com. Yeah. And go look up on their magic keyword searches. Yeah. Mortgage, insurance, real estate are like red, 100, 90, 80. That means the higher the number, the hardest they are to SEO. Yeah. So there you have people fighting for those top spots on YouTube. So even if you get to go to page 10 or 11, you still won't find meaningful videos that will actually teach you this. No. So if you really want to learn, like all it is people putting game out there enough with the top fluff in order for you to become a follower, in order for you to be able to actually buy their course or their class. Yeah. And that's what frickin' sucks about this industry.
Yeah. No, there's no one to guide you.
There's really not.
There's like, especially in the real estate market, I would say.
No, but I don't blame them. Like let's say tomorrow. So now you and I have established this problem. Yeah. There's not really straightforward information. You'll have to watch 10 YouTubes to maybe get 3 nuggets. Right. And it's not like go to YouTube, pay, part 3, minute 3 and 14 seconds. Like you have to watch an hour to 2 hours worth of content on the treadmill, hopefully while you're multitasking to get to where it is. So Matt, you and I have discovered that this is a problem. We're going to niche down, which is your specialty. Yeah. We're going to use your studio. Here's a grand. We're going to create a 10-hour course, and we're going to teach actual golden nuggets where people can take actual video and implement strategies straight from those videos on how they can, become better consumers for lending, for when they need lending and real estate. Yeah. And then we're going to put it on my site for free. Okay. Yeah. So we're going to say, here's my website for free, right? Yeah. Here's the problem with that. So now it wasn't free because it cost me to put it together, my time and my energy. I'm basically sharing 20 years of experience with you. Right. And you are a consumer. You might just watch the videos for free and say, maybe I'll come back to them later. Or now I'm more educated. I'm going to use Johnny B. Lender down the street,
Exactly.
So I get why the social influencers aren't giving the free game for free.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like all of this charade, right? All of this hurts the consumer.
It does.
They're not getting the information they need.
Right.
They're a bunch of followers out there that are going to follow you. Yeah. They don't know that the view counts that you're generating 50, 60, 100,000 view counts are mainly due to a hook, a caption, a strong image from Canva of someone going,
right,
and it's a really strong hook, right? And then probably about $30 to $40 of paid spending to rack up the view count. Yeah. All they're looking at as a consumer standpoint is, wow, this has got 101,000 views on it. The following count is, 125,000 for the subscriber count. You know what? I'm going to watch this guy's video and take it credible.
Right.
Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
So when I say there's sales fatigue, there's truly sales fatigue.
It's big time.
So what's a realtor to do? Aside from escaping the business, aside from trying to make it in another industry, aside from writing this out, I mean, hell, what's a realtor, lender, an insurance provider, service provider, period, to do? Unless they're in the trades, like where you actually need like someone to swing a hammer, right? Like if they're just in a service business, a hospitality business, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
where, how did they survive? Because even if they do survive the next 3 to 4 years, you and I who are consumers are truly like, dude, this would be better if I could just do it myself online. So what do?
They need to learn AI. They need to re-educate themselves, I think.
Elaborate.
So everything is going online or mobile, or like basically let's say I was doing real estate again. Now, today, I would start a podcast.
But there's a million podcasts.
I know, but I would start it just to meet people and grow a relationship with them.
How would you meet people from a podcast?
I would go on social media, and I would go into groups on like Facebook, and I would hone in on people like asking questions about houses or construction, or go to construction Facebook page or LinkedIn page. And I would just say, hey, I got a podcast. I'd love to have you on as a guest. Like, and then do like some kind of outline from ChatGPT that you're not trying to sell them anything. You're just trying to say, hey, if you want, you could come on the show and da-da-da. And then what's going to happen?
What is the conversion on that?
I'd say
because that's planting seeds. That's planting seeds.
Yeah, so you're planting seeds, right?
How long before that turns into fruit and actually turns into a closed commission into your pocket?
So if you could get someone that's known in the small niche of group on Facebook or in the community, like if you know, like Taro from Kuni Sushi, right? He's big into Bayside Church. And he owns 9 restaurants locally, 1 in Tahoe, and he's opening another one, I think, pretty soon. You know, he loves hats and shoes, and he dyes his hair.
Golf.
And golf.
Yeah.
Right? And he does a monthly honeymoon with his wife every month. And you could tell all that from social media because he posts it. And then, so if you would just message him, say, I'd love to have you on my podcast, right? He's going to post, he's going to post that. So you find someone that's posting what's going on in their life. Look for people like that.
I don't know if I'm a believer of that. You know what I think would really help?
Mm-hmm. What's that?
And I'm not crapping on your idea. Maybe your idea works. But if you and I were racing each other, okay, so you have a family, you have a child, right? Yeah. I have a family, I have kids, and we both have bills to pay.
Yeah.
So if you and I were racing each other and we both had to stop what we were doing and sell real estate, okay, then what I would do is I would do all of the things that people don't want to do. So remember how earlier I said swing a hammer, trades?
Yeah.
Well, that's work, right? Yeah. I would go on PropStream or Property Radar or Batch Leads, which are skip tracing tools and data aggregating tools from public record. Yeah. So in a non-fancy way, you can find people and filter their list and create a list of like absentee owners or investors, right?
Yeah.
And then you can skip trace it to get their phone numbers.
Right.
Okay. You could then scrub that from the DNC, the do not call list, so that you're somewhat in compliance.
Yeah.
And then you can now call them. You could now call them. Please, again, check with your state regulators to see if this is something that is allowable and not going to get you in trouble. This is just me brainstorming here on the spot.
These are just ideas.
I would literally call them, okay, and say a simple script. Hey, this is Sunny Singh, Keys Investments.
Yeah.
Hey, you have this house right here. Is that your house? Yeah. Hey, any interest in selling it to me? I'm looking to buy a home in that area. Any interest in selling it to me? Boom, I'm going straight to the point.
Right.
Now, I would probably put them into a predictive dialer like Callfire or Mojo. I'd probably I'd probably find call slots where I think I could reach them the most, like probably 3 to 5.
Yeah.
Or maybe, 1 to 3,
yeah.
And then I would prospect 3 to 4 hours a day and build a list of sellers.
Yeah.
Then I would go to Facebook Marketplace, or I'd go to the Facebook groups, right?
Yeah.
And I'd say, I have a list of off-market properties that I've been working on. If you are a cash investor, DM me. Now that list to build quickly is too easy.
Yeah.
This list of actually acquiring those sellers is hard.
Right.
Now, every time I have a break period that I've already been done prospecting, or I've fatigued from calling sellers, I would now call through my DM list and say, hey, you DM'd me, you're a cash investor, here's how I'm getting them. And I would not sugarcoat it. I'd be like, I'm literally cold calling and finding sellers. And this is the areas that I'm marketing. Does this area work for you? I would be screening them to see, hey, do they have funds? Can they send me proof of funds? Are they actually ready to pull the trigger? What's their motivation level? What's their time scenario? Okay.
Yeah.
This 30, 40 person list of, people from Marketplace and Craigslist or whatever would be scrubbed down to like 5, 6 solid cash investors that have money, that have proven to me that they have funds.
Yeah.
And now my job is to just match make them.
Right.
And I would tell everybody honestly and openly. Instead of assignment contract and keeping it hidden, I would be like, look, you're selling it to me for 300. I found a guy that's going to buy it for 320. I'm just going to marry you guys. You're happy. He's happy. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Boom. Now, before I do this, I would look into my regulatory and compliance by calling the Department of Real Estate, which is in the state I am in California, because I am a licensed individual.
Right.
And I believe the wholesaling rules state that if you're unlicensed, you can only do maybe 1 or 2 of these. I don't know what the number is, correct me if I'm wrong, but like you can't do it like full time because that's considered brokering.
Right.
And that's where it gets a little convoluted, because if you're licensed, you have to do your best by representing the seller.
Right.
So how can you do your best? So now you have to prove that, hey, this house is distressed. It has issues. There's a roof. It needs about $100,000 in rehab. So enter a contractor, or you have to have them find their own contractor to see how much it would take to fix it up.
Right.
And hey, if they're like, dude, you know what? I want to just sell it on the open market. Hey, you got a listing out of it.
Yeah.
But if they're like, hey, you've done your due diligence, you can prove without a shadow of a doubt that this house is only worth 300. It's worth 400 after it's been rehabbed. And now you have a rehabber ready to buy it from you, or someone's going to buy and hold rent it.
Yeah.
Then cool. You're playing matchmaker, and now you're solving a problem. You're helping everybody.
Yeah.
And you're making money.
Yeah.
And I think it's allowable because you see all these people in KCRA, you see all these commercials, Laurel buys homes, Osborne homes, you see them all. So
I met Laura.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, very successful person.
In the podcast.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, crap. Now your race is actually beating me. Your race is beating me. But I feel like if I did this, I truly feel if I started this full time and I did this, I think by 30 days, I'd probably have a few listings.
Yeah.
I mean, do you believe me?
I believe you. That way would work. I think you could get sales, but then
let me add the podcast to it.
Yeah, or do that to get going quick, right? Like, and then you have your systems in place, and then you have someone doing that for you.
Yeah, make a few checks and reinvest it into hiring somebody to do it for you.
You have your process.
Yeah.
Go through the process, filter out anything that's shouldn't be there, that's a waste of time for if you were teaching it to someone else to do.
Yeah.
Right? And then you filter those out, So you have more time on your hands. And then where I was going with the podcast thing is once you have a basis, like you get 2 or 3 people on, right? So my example is Taro. He would come on and then he would share that podcast that you just put him on, right? So now you're kind of like acquaintances or friends. You spend about 30 minutes together, maybe an hour. Did you know once you spend 7 hours with someone, you consider them a friend?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. You start to trust. Even if it's on a screen and you never talk to the person, if you watch 7 hours of a personality that you're consuming their brand, their statement, persona. Yeah. You associate them with someone that you kind of trust.
That's crazy.
So by having the podcast, and then you have someone that has a little influence in the area on your podcast, they're going to want to share it because, I was just on a new podcast, blah, blah, blah. They're going to share it. Now you just access everyone they know, filtered down a 1% conversion or 2%. So there's those loyal followers for him that are going to check you out. Then that's going to convert to maybe 4% on your podcast where you get new subscribers. Or people that contact you and say, I love the show, blah, 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 or that's great. And then you reach out to those 4 and say, I'd love to have you on the show or discuss
the content strategy.
Yeah. Right. So now you hit 10 people like that. Okay. They all share their information. Now, all those people heard about you, right? So you start to become known a little bit more because now you have Taro, you have the owner of Scott Seafood, the owner of Pizzeria Classico, the owner of whatever.
Yeah,
or even other real estate agents. And they're going to share that with their friends and family because that's what we do. We're social people, right? And we all have our village. It might not be personal, but in some way, someone has reach to someone else.
Yeah.
So now you're reaching that person. And if that person could connect, the reason I wouldn't have too many other real estate agents on my, I would have maybe 1 or 2 for informational stuff so people could get value from a different perspective.
And they'd have to be niche-y, like probate or like foreclosures.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like they have their sector, right? So now, then that person might click on another video in your arsenal,
it's
right?
Just growing. Yeah,
and so now you have the opportunity to get a referral commission for that guy because they want to, that you know them, or say Taro saw your episode with the guy that does probate and he wants to start investing in real estate, but he wants to go through the probate process or find like
deals.
Do auctions, right? Where you have to submit an auction and you just hope that there's no more liens and you're waiting a few days for your check to clear, right? Because you give them your check and then if they deposit it, it's your property, right?
Yeah.
So you're the middle guys, you're going to be, you could start getting commissions. It's like a long-term game. I think.
No, there's so many ways to slice it. Yeah. You know, if you're a real estate agent watching this and you're nervous about the market, DM myself or comment below to myself or Matt, and we'll do our best to assist you with what we think is going to work, whether it's a podcast strategy or whether it's, bootstrapped, hitting the ground, running strategy. If you're a lender watching this, I would discourage you from contacting real estate agents right now. I mean, look, there's probably a lot of coaches out there. They're like, contact realtors. But why? Like if you contact a realtor and you try to build a relationship with them and they have no,
footing.
They have no footing. They don't have the layers that I just described of SOP, a mission statement, their tech stack, their business plan. They don't have anything ready to go, and they're just winging it. And you could tell they got into this as a side hustle, and they were doing like 10 transactions a year before, but now they're like, you just know they're going to be doomed. Like, why even invest your time in that? You could be with your kids, you could be with your family, you could be contacting past customers, you could be hitting up Matt for a podcast. But if you're a lender watching this, if you are going to contact agents, call whales. Call people that have a proven system. Call people that are closing 20, 30, 50, 100 transactions a year, and do your best to see how you can add value and fit into their system. They're going to have lenders they work with.
Or call them and say, I'm going to do this for you for free. And they do something they didn't even know they needed.
Well, you got to be careful with that.
No, I know.
Quid pro
in real
quo,
estate. Yeah.
RESPA. But yeah, no.
Well, or to
find your value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Provide value that someone else might need.
Yeah.
And they'll come back.
So this has been a crazy podcast. This is something we just went all over, back and forth. We started with NAR. Yeah. The truth is nobody knows what's happening with NAR. So if you're watching this and you want to know what the real thing is, nobody knows. Don't watch these videos. You're going to ultimately get the play-by-play on what's going to happen from your broker. If you're a broker watching this, you're ultimately going to get your play-by-play from a regulator. So why not just wait for that? Okay. NAR has great resources on their website. I mean, they just posted today a video on the breakdown of this and commissions and how it affects. We'll put a link down below on that so you can watch it. And then we went back to, what we think is going to happen. And I think it's going to be a lot of doom for agents,
I think.
And I think this is a good thing.
Yeah,
it's a good thing.
Happened before.
Imagine if you're in your 30s and your 40s and you really wanted to be a career in real estate and you were already kind of like not having a great 1.5 years, like the last 18 months from rates rising.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the push you need to go get that, that job.
Yeah.
Like not everybody can be an entrepreneur.
Right.
You have to realize that you might be a wantrepreneur. And that's okay. Like I want to be able to dunk a basketball. Right? Like I want to be able to play hoop in the NBA, but
I want to open a franchise restaurants.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is that I don't know the right investors. I don't know. So what you do is you identify the problem. Do I want to be a real estate agent? Sure I do. Do I know how to do it? Not really, but so-and-so's doing it and they're making money. But how did they get there? What was their path?
Yeah.
Are they good at it? And then you have to compare your path and go, well, maybe now's not the right time. I wanted to do real estate 23 years ago. And I took all the classes and I was going to take my test. And then I got married and my life changed. And then I started a cell phone business and another, like a pressure washing detailing business with 2 trailers. And that kind of just went to the side. And that was in the year 2000. And then we had like a little market crash with like stock market crash and stuff.
Life happens.
And all my friends that were in real estate that I wanted to go work with them, they all left. Or like they did it, but they all had second jobs. And I was like, oh, it wasn't meant to be. Like sometimes your journey, if you read the sign, if you go with the signs on your journey, you might find that you wanted to be a real estate agent, but then it led you on this path to, you pivoted and you find that you like doing this other thing. Like that's how I got into podcasting. It was just like this journey of, I wanted to do photography on the side from the restaurant stuff. And I used to do it all the time in high school and on the side.
So you did. So what you're hearing right now, and that's not me cutting you short. We do got to wrap this podcast up.
We got to wrap it.
But like he went through 4 different businesses before he found this business that he's just killing it in.
Yeah.
So, that's the life of an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Failure isn't failure. You're just learning.
What would you say to those individuals that are like, man, I'm failing. I haven't hit a closing. I maybe had 1 or 2 closings the last 18 months. And, we got a lot of pressure on my family. My husband or spouse, my wife is, really, the only breadwinner now. And, what do I do? I personally would tell them like, hey, dude, you tried. Or maybe you had that time and you didn't fully try.
Yeah.
So set a date.
Or
fully try. Give it your all for that date. And if it doesn't pencil, like time for you to go get a job because this just isn't for you.
Yeah. Like your family comes first.
Yeah.
You know, and the other thing you could do is you could hang your license as a referral agent. If you know another realtor, like say in Sotheby or a higher where if if they cut it in half to 3%, then it's not gonna work either.
I'm gonna stop that right there because if you're thinking about being a referral agent or just keeping your license, then you're going down the right as the pathway of side hustle. And I'm just not I'm not gonna ever agree with someone's side hustle.
Leads back to what we were talking about earlier, where you're like, you're doing this and you're doing this and you're spread out too thin.
Jack and Jill of all trades.
Yeah. So, I mean, just it's time to start a new path.
Well, hey, man.
Next chapter.
Great podcast on what's going on.
What's going on with Matt and Sonny.